Hey everybody, I hope everybody's having a good day. Once again, I hadn't planned on making a lot of like prepping type videos and other stuff, but with my hand still in a cast, you can see I'm going to be not doing any shooting or anything like that for at least another 4 or 5 weeks, maybe 6, depending on what the doctor says. But so today I thought, well, I'm going to go over a first aid kit I put together. Not that I'm an expert on this or anything. I'll be honest. I mean, I did some searching on YouTube and looked at lists of things that other people have put together, and then I started digging through local places I could find it that was reasonable, so that you're not spending an arm and a leg on it. And I'll tell you where I found a lot of my stuff. And then you can look at what I gathered and kind of the reasons that I gathered. I'm going to give some of those. And part of it was I was talking to a friend of mine at work 2 months ago, and he was driving into work and came across a pretty bloody car accident. And I was thinking to myself, well, if I came across something like that, I've got nothing in my truck that would help anybody with anything. So I thought, well, I'll put together a small, trauma type kit for my truck with a, um, you know, gauze bandages and a tourniquet and some basic things like that to stop like major bleeding and stuff like that. But then I thought, well, given the way the world is going right now, and even though we have Trump coming into office and he has said he wants to stop all the fighting and all the wars, literally Monday, President Biden gave permission for Ukraine to use long range weapons inside of Ukraine or inside of Russia. And Russia's already said that that's a red line. So it'll be interesting to see what they do now in response. So, you know what? Having a first aid kit might not be the worst thing. Just seeing how the world's going. So go ahead and use these items if you want to. If not, you can let me know what you added to yours. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and I'm going to go show you kind of what I put together. Okay, the first thing I'd like to show everybody is that I use these. They're $11 clear totes. I get them from a local store, Menards. They're nice because they have 6 lids or 6 handles that clip over, and the lids also have the little gasket in here, which nominally makes them fairly water resistant and moisture resistant. And my garage stays at 40, so once these are sealed shut, you can stack on them. And I mean, they're pretty waterproof. I'm not going to say 100%, probably not, but they're going to resist most water damage and keep everything dry. And then what I will do is I throw a couple of the moisture absorbent packs in there. I bought a bag of them off Amazon. And that keeps the moisture down if any moisture would build up just from temperature change. So, okay, so starting left to right on the table here. I know nobody wants to think about hand sanitizers and all that stuff after COVID, but let's face it, if you're dealing with an open wound, you don't want to introduce more germs and infection and make it worse than it started out. So something to clean your hands. I have a different collection of different things. There's prep pads there with alcohol, hand sanitizing wipes, and a hand sanitizer. So those are items that I picked right away. I also have a box of gloves. They're the just medical exam gloves. Obviously, I have to be careful if somebody has an allergy to latex, but these I believe are the nitrile ones, so they should be good for that. So then, speaking of wound care, I mean, if you have something where you have big open wounds and you just want to pack it with gauze, there's a good selection of different types of gauze. Once again, there's this local store that does markdown type clearance stuff. I walked in there one day and they had a whole bunch of this stuff really cheap, a couple bucks a box. I mean, like the rolls of pads, the small pads were 89 cents. And it's not like they go bad. So I'm like, I could pay full price or I could pay half price there. Also, something that you might want to have on is a big bag of Epsom salts. There's a whole bunch of different uses for Epsom salts, from just aches and pains and a whole bunch of different uses for it. So, also different types of tape, especially I guess some waterproof ones, because obviously things that get wet sticks to itself, not the skin. So helpful to keep things in keep wounds or bandages in place. So different types of tape. Yeah, and on that, and also I have several scissors, and one's going to be in this kit, and one's going to be in my truck kit. So obviously, scissors helpful for cutting the bandages, getting them the right size. If you're down to one hand, then you need to cut the tape or something. You can do that with the scissors. Also, I did some basic, like a knee brace and an elbow brace. The knee brace I've used once before, but it still works fine. If you have just sprains or aches or some sort of weak joint, it'd be good to have those around. And also some athletic wraps, some compression wraps. They're handy. They've got a dozen different uses. So I keep 4 or 5 of them in my box with all the first aid supplies. Cotton balls. They're, once again, have a ton of uses. They're really soft. They absorb well. And if you mix them with Vaseline, you can start fires with them. There's all sorts of different things you can do for first aid type situations. Just from packing wounds, it could be helpful. Once again, nobody wants to think about COVID stuff, but I did include some masks just in case the government manages to figure out how to release some other disease onto us, which they probably will at some point. Oop, did I say that out loud? Scratch that. Of course, that didn't happen. It came from some other place. A headlamp, always helpful. It keeps your hands free. You can do a flashlight, but the headlamps keep your hands free, allow you to work with them and still have light on situation. You can see I have a tourniquet there. I also have some emergency blankets up there where if you have somebody that's going into shock, you can pull those out, wrap them up in that, try and control the body heat. A couple different types of wipes there. This here, jackknife, it's also a cut down tool if you have to cut a seat belt or something like that. And are also on the end of it has the little divot there to bust out windows if need be. So that one's going in the truck kit. And then, like if there's an accident or something, now this little small jackknife will go in my regular kit, along with, like I said, the scissors, just for aid of cutting tape or bandages or anything like that. Now, I'm including in my first aid kit a water filter. Why? I don't know, just because I thought, well, water is important. If you run across somebody that needs water and there's a water source nearby, you can pump out and filter out water. That filter there cost me about, well, with tax and everything, about $100. It works great. I used it on our big hike out in the Tetons, and we drank water out of it. We did probably 5 gallons of water through it from different sources, and everything was fine. Tasted great. I also included some food because there's always a possibility you could run across somebody who's diabetic and they need quick calories. Quest bars may not be the best for the sugars, but it's protein, it's food, it's something for their body to work on. So a thermometer, basic thermometer. And then for anybody who's, 40, 50 years old, maybe older, Vicks Vapor Rub. It's just good for colds, good for clearing the sinuses, always helpful. Another thing I included is some sort of insect repellent. I'll get into that in a minute here. I also included some matches and a fire starter in case you need to start a fire. A couple different kinds. These plastic fire starters are pretty nice. If you don't have arthritis or anything in your hands, you can work them pretty well. But also just basic matches. A lot of times you can find those on sale and pick them up pretty cheap. Petroleum jelly, once again for wound care, for keeping things clean, for skin protection, for dry skin, whatever you need it for. One place I saw said storage bags for if you need to keep things isolated from other stuff. I thought, okay, yeah, that seems kind of logical. So I threw it on there. I also did a roll of duct tape and a Sharpie in case you need to mark something and put a date and time on it for ambulance clues, for later, whatever. I thought it would be handy. So I also did hydrogen peroxide and isopropyl alcohol, a little bit of both. These went out of stock almost immediately during COVID because everybody was doing their own wipes. So I thought they'd be handy. So I included some of that. Band-Aids. I mean, everybody needs Band-Aids at times. There's 1,000 different uses for them. I also included, hold on here for a second. I should put this over here. I also included some different medications. So I did a thing of ibuprofen, thing of Tylenol type stuff, a nasal spray, burn relief gel, once in the Vicks Vapor Rub, first aid antibiotic cream, and then a couple different types of allergy relief and a Benadryl, just for emergencies on that end. I also did Pepto-Bismol if anybody's got an upset stomach, and like a cleansing spray for disinfecting. And then the last one in there, I think everybody should have on hand, considering what's going on in the world with all the crazinesses. That's potassium iodide, so it keeps your body from absorbing radiation. Could be helpful. Hopefully we never have to use it. There's also a hydrocortisone cream there for anti-itch. Once again, and if society breaks down and you're not going into town, you might want to have some of this stuff on hand. And then last of all, like I said, I included some insect repellent type stuff because mosquitoes carry all sorts of interesting and crazy and nasty diseases. So do ticks. If you ever really want to run down a rabbit trail, go watch some videos on the background of Lyme's disease and whether it's man-made or not. I don't know if it is, but the videos were interesting. So I have some mosquito nets, some deep woods off for insect repellent, and then the Thermacell system, which I haven't opened this one yet, but I've been told by people they're pretty slick. They keep the bugs back. So once again, that's a basic. Let me back out here a little bit. That is my beginnings of my first aid kit for emergency situations. Feel free to use these ideas for your own kit. Between Walmart and some of the markdown stores, you can get most of this stuff pretty cheap. I think the most expensive thing I have there is the water filter. Obviously, that's kind of a side thing. You would have to have it. Other than that, I mean, I've probably got less than $150 into this, including the containers. So you can put yourself something together where if you have to stay out of town for a couple of weeks while some sort of craziness, i.e. like the riots 4 years ago, if you got to stay out of town for a couple of weeks, or you need to stay in your house, or you need to stay on your property because of whatever's going on, you want to have some of this stuff on hand so that you're not forced to make a run to town in order to get first aid supplies. So, like I said, probably $150 total for all this, including the container. And you don't have to buy name brand. You can see a lot of the stuff I bought is store brands. One of the local store brands here is Equate. It works the same thing. I've been using that for years, especially with some of the like the Benadryl and the ibuprofen and the allergy relief meds. they work just as well. All right. Well, everybody have a good day, and we'll see you next time.